ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Drawing to the concluding portions of this 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Geetā, we have a very interesting account of how the entire creation takes place and dissolves also. Again comes up, again dissolves. That's what we saw in the 19th verse. Bhutagramaha sa eva ayam. This huge number of living beings with different names and forms, different kinds of gross and subtle bodies, different looks, carrying very different baggages of their own karma, they come again and again, bhutva bhutva praliyate. They merge back into what is called the avyakta. Praliyate ratragame, at the night of Prajapati or Brahma, they dissolve, and aharagame, when the day of Prajapati begins, they arise. Prabhavati aharagame. And Sri Krishna adds an adverb, avashaha, being helpless. They come up and they go in with no control over it. That's not in their hands. It's all governed by the higher intelligence. Avashaha, in a sense, is an adverb to Prabhavati, but it being in Pratama Vibhakti, it is an adjective to Bhuta Grama. This Bhuta Grama is helpless. Vashaha means having things in one's control. Avashaha, having no control over this arrival or departure. When we are born and when we die are not in our hands. Here the mention is not of any individual's birth or death, the entire mass of living beings. So praliyate is the verbal form of pralaya, the grand, great dissolution. When it dissolves, entire mass, entire collection, leaving no one, leaving no soul behind, all goes back to the unmanifest. Adi Shankaracharya gives a synonym. Bhuta Gramaha means Bhuta Samudaya. Samudaya is again that group, that collection, that gathering. Grama here therefore doesn't mean a village somewhere else. Grama can be meaning a village. Here it is collection. Sometimes we use the word Indriya Grama. There also Indriyas, 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action put together. They are called Indriya Grama. Samudaya or Samuha is synonym. Stavara Jangama Lakshanaha. Some are unmoving, like hills. Jangama is what is moving. among living and non-living beings. Some, for their own reasons, stay put, some keep moving. Stay put meaning relatively. Sri Ramakrishna stayed put in Kolkata, in Dakshineshwar. His disciple Vivekananda, Jangama, going everywhere. Among some sadhus, some stay at a single place. But more sadhus are generally seen to be moving from place to place. In certain religious traditions, the moment you use the word Jangama, it means an itinerant monk. Jangama. Gam means to go, and duplication. First it becomes Gangama, then Ga becomes Ja, Jangama. There is a certain grammar to it, Ka becoming Ja. So Jangama is one who keeps going. Sadhus keep going. Rolling stone gathers no moss. There is the saying. So as they move, they don't get attached anywhere, to any person, to any place, to any comfort. They keep moving, and their bosom is free from any clinging of any kind. But here, Stavara Jangama is more like Chara Achara. Chara moving, Achara not moving. Stavara Jangama Lakshanaha Bhuta Samudayah यह पूर्वस्मिन् कल्पे आसीत् स एव अयं नान्यः भूत्वा भूत्वा अहरागमे. So कल्पे आसीत् प्रलीयते at रात्र्यागमे, अहरागमे it comes. Shankaracharya takes us further. Praliyate punah punah ratragame. Annaha kshaye. Ahan means day. When the day ends, annaha kshaye. Avashaha aswatantraha. As we already mentioned, they are not free. Swatantra means when you have things in your own hands. You decide when to go, where to go, whether to go at all. But aswatantraha means when you have no such freedom. Aswatantraha eva he partha prabhavati jayate avashaha eva aharagame. So, apart from describing what is happening, as one of the Tippanakaras mentions, such description is to arouse in us vairagya, dispassion. Whenever we think something is going to be with us all the time, we get attached to it. When we know that it will leave our hands, what is with us today will be with somebody else tomorrow. Everywhere things are impermanent. Bhaja Govindam says, Putradapi dhana bhajam viti. Wealthy people at times are afraid of their own sons or daughters, that these sons and daughters might take away everything and leave me in the lurch. Thus, we don't know. If in the bottom of our heart we know things are impermanent, then when it happens, God forbid, but if it happens, we are less affected. So we have aharagame jayate ratragame praliyate. Continuing, let's first see how Bhashyakara connects us to the 20th verse. Yadupanyastam aksharam. Here and there, akshara has been mentioned right from the beginning of this chapter. Aksharam brahma paramam swabhavo dhyatma muchyate bhuta bhavo dhavakaraha visargaha karma sannitaha, etc. was defined. Because Arjuna had asked the question, Kim Tad Brahma, and so on. So Aksharam Brahma. So Brahma is the imperishable. Yad Upanyastam. What was said before? Upanyastam. Upanyasa at such places means what is mentioned. Upanyasa in certain languages means lecture. In certain other languages in India, Upanyasa means a novel. The word originally has both the meanings. Whichever meaning is more prevalent in certain areas gets into the heads of people. They think that Upanyasa means only a novel. No, it can mean a lecture. And those others think Upanyasa means only a lecture. No, it can mean a novel also. In South India, a lecturer at a college is called Upanyasaka. He lectures. So here it goes with that meaning. Yad Upanyastam Aksharam. What was narrated, what was spelled out. Tasya Prapti Upayaha Nirdishtaha Omityekaksharam Brahma Ityadina. So now Shankaracharya tells us that rather than getting stuck with this movement from the manifest to the unmanifest and back to the manifest, etc., Bhagavad Geetā or Lord Sri Krishna takes us back to contemplation upon something that is above both these. The manifest is one, the unmanifest is the second. There is something which doesn't get affected by these at all. That remains the same. And that is, after all, our final goal. We are not supposed to get attached to what they call in Hindi, Aya Ram Gaya Ram. Aya Ram Gaya Ram means it came, it went. It came, it went. But is there something which never comes nor goes? Rather, it is ever shining. That is also called Avyakta. It's a higher Avyakta. The word Avyakta is used on two planes. Avyakta, unmanifest, in relation to the manifest, Vyakta. Then another Avyakta, which is also unmanifest, is the very basis of both these Vyakta and Avyakta. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Ityadina. 13th shloka had talked about it, that one has to meditate on Om in order to realize Akshara. Ata idanim Aksharasya eva Swarupa Nirdidikshaya. That Akshara has to be presented with insights into its Swarupa, its true nature. Nirdesha is to point out. Nirdidiksha. See, diksh then becomes didiksh. This is called reduplication. Nirdidiksha. Nirdesha is to define. Nirdidiksha means wanting to define. They are called sannanta. The sun is the termination. Words ending in sun. Sun is the name given to such terminations or such a termination which brings out the sense of wanting to do. Pana is drinking, pipasa, thirst, when you want to drink. Bhuj is to eat. Bubuksha is hunger, when you want to. That Pana is wanting to drink, Bubuksha is wanting to eat. So Jidnasa, they are all sannantas. Nirdidiksha. And then Nirdidikshaya idam uchyate anena yoga margena idam gantavyam. So Sri Krishna once more shows to us the yoga marga, the path of upward movement. In the world, unless we are careful, unless divine grace has descended upon us, we only go down and down and down, alas. but we want to go up. Yoga margena gantavyam. That's where this verse 20 talks about avyakta 1 and avyakta 2. Parastasmattu bhavonyah avyakto avyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Beautiful expression. Nashyatsu na vinashyati. In 13th chapter also that expression comes. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam yap pashyati sapashyati. As we rise higher and higher, our vision is very different. On a lower plane, we see everything getting destroyed. Everything rises for some time only to subside. Everything is born only to perish. Whereas higher we reach, we find, hey, wait a minute. There is something which never perishes. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam yap pashyati sapashyati. Yap pashyati sapashyati means he who sees, sees. Very interesting expression. As I have said before, a friend of ours in San Jose, San Francisco Bay Area, has been running, probably it's about 2 years now, a podcast which is titled Yap Pashyati Sapashyati. That expression appears twice in Bhagavad Geetā. Yap Pashyati Sapashyati. Who sees it? Well, he sees it. Who sees it? Who is that? Who sees it? Well, she sees it. Who sees it? In this way. Nothing more can be said. In other words, it is a mystery. It's a mystery, and we use such expressions like Daivanugraha. When there is divine grace upon you, you will see it. It's not otherwise possible to define the conditions. Though an attempt is made, Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadama, etc. you have, then you study, you do Shravana, you do Manana, you do Nididhyasana, then you get enlightened. All that is said. But there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. So many people get on to sadhana, only very rare few go above dualities. Here yapashyati, sapashyati hasn't come, but nashyatsu na vinashyati. That which doesn't perish when everything else is perishing. Amidst and among things that are dying, there is something which as though keeps smiling, shining. Parastasmatu bhavonyaha avyaktaha. There is a certain avyakta which is avyaktat paraha. Already we have talked of a duality, the unmanifest and the manifest. The manifest is vyakta, unmanifest is avyakta. So this going from A to B is one affair. A to B, B to A to B, B to A. But there is something paraha, above the relatively unmanifest. If you ask once more, what are the two unmanifests? What are the two avyaktas? We say, one is a relative avyakta. It is avyakta compared with vyakta. But another is absolutely avyakta. It is never object of perception, seeing. And that is sanatana. While Hindu dharma is widely recognized or accepted as Sanatana Dharma, a lot of people prefer the word Sanatana Dharma for Hinduism. There are certain teachers who go one step further. Yesterday I was watching a short video by Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev. He not only says Sanatana is the right word for Hinduism, But he more or less says, stop using the word Hinduism. Stop using the word Hindu Dharma. And he says, we are not talking about any religion, we are not talking about any community, we are not talking about any particular group of people. When we talk about spirituality, we are talking about a certain science, certain set of laws which apply to anybody and everybody. Certain right way of living, and that is Sanatana Dharma. So he says, it should not be referring to any religious group. Somebody who goes to church also, suppose, lives rightly with certain truly noble values, he is a Sanatani. Because the noble values, truly broad-minded, truly caring for others, truly caring for oneself too, one's spiritual growth. Somebody once defined love. What is love? Love is where two people who love each other are always choosing or preferring the spiritual growth of each other. It's not about just settling for something shallow. Love is not eating ice cream together. Love is not watching movie together. Those are all popular versions. Two people, man and woman, holding hand in hand, walk by a lake, eat some popcorn, some such pleasure, fun, listen to some music. All that is described as love. And Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, Bollywood, all of them have earned enough by showing that kind of love. But really speaking, I think it is Scott Peck, the author of The Road Less Traveled, a book on psychology, defines love as that where A and B primarily promote, bring about, facilitate the spiritual growth of each other. So, coming back from Sadhguru, Jaggi Vasudev, etc., what he says makes a lot of sense. Sanatana Dharma is the set of noble values where you give space to each other. With all due respect to Christianity, we know that they are hell-bent on increasing their numbers, conversion. Of course, they don't get into rude, crude violence, but tempting poor people with this gift or that gift, sometimes deceiving poor people that they got cured by drinking something that was given in the church. Actually, some allopathy medicine was administered, but the poor are made to believe. There's a lot of stories. That what I'm talking is not fancy or imagination. Plenty of such stories come to us around the world. Christianity is so much interested in converting. Everybody should surrender to Jesus alone, otherwise you go to hell. That is not so much this true science. True science is not so much to do with any particular figure like Jesus Christ or Rama or Krishna. Rama and Krishna also in Sanatana Dharma are representatives of a certain higher truth. Go for truth, you are free. Stay with the false, you are bound. That truth may express in many divine forms. So Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, who doesn't quote any Gita shloka, who has more or less stopped reciting anything in Sanskrit, in plain English, he has been causing quite a bit of a stir. He has been impacting human consciousness. He has been impacting what we call them thought leaders. He has been a terrific thought leader in his own way. God bless him. So coming back, Sanatana, all this came because the word Sanatana has come here. So Sanatana is Chirantana, as Bhagavan Bhashyakara is going to say. Yassa Bhuteshu, in all of us, on a certain level, there is something that is appearing and after a while disappearing. But on a deeper level, there is something which is ever changeless. Therefore, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, doubt the doubter. We doubt sometimes, am I going to die? How many years are left in my life? And so on. And then we are so much stuck with that doubt and that query, that curiosity. We go even to an astrologer and ask him, tell me, what is my ayush, lifespan? Maharshi says, you have a doubt whether you will live for many more years or not. Don't worry about answer to that question. Ask, who is doubting? You may say, I am doubting. I have a doubt. Find out who you are. Doubt the doubter. A very profound insight. When you doubt the doubter, the entire scenario changes. The one who was maybe going to die or maybe was not going to die is rediscovered to be someone, as Bhagavad Geetā says here, na vinashyati. Death is impossible for the true I. Death is applicable only to the false I. And you are so interested in the false I. And you seem to be not interested in the true I. What a pity. Bhuteshu nashyatsu. When on the surface level, all living beings are dying. Bhuteshu nashyatsu is called Sati Saptami Prayoga. A noun, Bhuta, and a participle, Nashyat. Both go to seventh case. Here, both of them in seventh case plural, which has a sense of when such a state of affairs comes into being. When living beings are dying, there is something na vinashyati. Na vinashyati. Let's see what Bhashya. One more word in the original, that will come, of course, in the Bhashya also, bhavaha. Bhavaha is existence. There is a certain existence of you and me, that is paraha, higher than both this manifest and unmanifest. Paraha vyatiriktaha bhinnaha, vyatiriktaha, distinct, bhinnaha, totally different. Kutaha, from what? Different from what? Tasmat purvoktat. Earlier we talked about one avyakta. In relation to vyakta, there was a certain avyakta. But now there is another avyakta way above this. Just as in case of names of cities. Though I have been quite familiar with the 100 cities of United States, I was myself in for a little bit embarrassment when I met a very senior police officer in Himachal Pradesh, and he talked of his wife going to Rochester for a medical conference. And I only thought of Rochester in New York. Then that very senior police officer said to me, no, my wife did not go to Rochester in New York. Don't you know there is another Rochester in Minnesota, famous for Mayo Clinic? Mayo Clinic I had heard. But that is also in the city called Rochester. Oh, really? I've been to Minnesota twice or thrice, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and so on. Rochester. So, one Rochester, I guess most circles, the New York's Rochester is well known. Depends on which circle you are active in. But probably in my medical circles, This Rochester of Minnesota is more well known. Whatever. Just as you said, there is another Rochester. There is another Delhi. There is another, I have so many. Especially in the United States, so many cities. I'm tempted to share one more. When I first came to US in the early 90s, 93, there was a town in San Francisco Bay Area, Menlo Park. I was excited because in high school we had a English language. Studying English, we had one lesson, The Wizard of Menlo Park. And it was about Thomas Alva Edison. So I said to my NRI friends, I'm so happy to know Menlo Park is right here. We pass through it while going from here to there to here. Menlo Park is here. We have read about it in high school. Edison lived here and did all those inventions. Then one gentleman, Harish Rao, smiled and said, no, Swamiji, in this country, there is the same name at many places. That Menlo Park where Thomas Edison did all his discoveries, inventions, and all that is on the East Coast. There's Portland on the East Coast, there's a Menlo Park on the East Coast, there's something else. But then they repeat in other states. So, without going long on it, this Avyakta also, one Avyakta we know, that Bhuta Grama becoming visible to one another, each other, and the Bhuta Grama becoming invisible. That invisible is Avyakta. But Paraha Avyakta, there is another Avyakta, another unmanifest, which never becomes manifest, which never dies, which is never born. Purvokta tu shabdaha aksharasya vivakshitasya avyaktat vailakshanya visheshanarthaha. So tu parastasmat tu, the particle tu is to especially show vailakshanya. Vilakshana, viparita lakshana, having different characteristics. That kind of situation is vailakshanya. It's uniqueness. Because this higher avyakta is very unique. It never changes its nature. Vailakshanya visheshanarthaha bhavaha aksharakyam param brahma. Aksharam brahma paramam was said long back. And that, as we had said before, has its origin in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya says to Gargi that there is certain truth called Akshara, and upon knowing Akshara, one is liberated. The word Akshara also can have other meanings on lower levels. So, many Menlo Parks, many Portlands, and so on, like that, many Aksharas, many Avyaktas. I was trying to remember another. Birmingham. Birmingham of England was known, I believe, very well, is known even today. But in America, Birmingham in Michigan, Birmingham, I guess, in one of the Carolinas, so many Birminghams. Birmingham, I guess, in whatever, so many states. So please be careful. Akshara, Avyakta. When they run out of all these English names, I think they will name cities Akshara. Akshara in California. Where are you going tomorrow? I'm going to Akshara in Texas. There's yet another Akshara in Illinois. Why am I talking about US as though there's no other word? In India, in Europe, they may name cities. Aksharakyam param brahma vyatiriktatve sati api. Salakshanya prasangosti iti tad vinivratti artham aha anyaha iti. Not only two, but one more word, anyaha. See, this is different. Please, this is different. Anyaha. Why one more? Because even though something is different, it may have some similar features. There's a man with the same name somewhere else. Though he is somewhere else, to a certain extent, he is very much like this man in our town. Let's say there is some Subramanyam in our town. There is another Subramanyam in Kolkata. So on one hand, we say that Subramanyam is different. But then you hasten to add, though he is different in Kolkata, but if you see him, he very much looks like this Subramanyam in our town, and he talks like this Subramanyam, he similarities. Whereas here, no. That imperishable avyakta is not salakshana. Salakshana, vilakshana. Samana lakshana, viparita lakshana. Therefore, salakshanya, vailakshanya. That prasanga, that possibility should be dismissed. Tad vinivrityartam aha. Anyaha vilakshanaha sacha avyaktaha anindriya gocharaha. Look at the felicity of Sanskrit language. Indriya gocharaha, anindriya gochara. What is distinct about this supreme avyakta is it's never visible for indriyas to see, never audible, never object of any of the sense organs. Parastasmat iti uktam kasmat punah paraha पूर्वोक्तात् भूतग्राम बीजभूतात् avidya lakshanat. So all these bhutagramas have a certain unmanifest condition, and that is marked avidya. So this makes certain Vedantins consider avidya as the cause and the manifest world as the effect. But certain others say, don't take it in that way. Avidya is error. In error, all these look very real. When error ends, asamyak darshana ends, you come to know that nothing is born, nothing ever dies. Anyway, avidya as karanam can be the interpretation here, but which is not the interpretation in certain circles. Avyaktat anyaha vilakshanaha bhavaha ityabhiprayah sanatanaha chirantanaha, synonym sanatana, chirantana. It was, it is, and it will be. When we say something is the science of it. Fire is hot, whether it's in a Hindu home or a Buddhist home. Fire is hot, whether it is in Moscow or in Timbuktu. It's the law. Like that, Sadhguru would say, Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma. It's actually a body of certain laws. Some people may not accept it today, but one day they find that, what the Hindus had said long ago is true. Not that Hinduism is free of superstition. Some superstitions get into everything. That's different. But there's a lot of other laws. Reincarnation, for example. So many people in the West also, like Brian Weiss, psychiatrist in Miami, I guess, Brian Weiss, so fully into sharing his discoveries in the context of reincarnation. That law, karma siddhanta. Lot of people may mock at karma siddhanta, but they will come when they realize that karma is true. We are not just physical beings. We have a subtle body, and the good things we do, the bad things we do, have effects at a later point of time. Long after this physical body is dead, what we did when we were in this physical body in this life will bear fruit. Buddhism accepts it, Jainism accepts it, Hinduism accepts it, but Western religions don't accept karma, punarjanma, etc. Chirantana is a body of wisdom to which a lot of humanity is yet to wake up. Let them take time. Yassa bhavaha sarveshu bhuteshu brahmadishu nashyatsu na vinashyati. That bhavaha, that being does not die. Continuing again, the mention of avyakta is found in 21st. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Lord Sri Krishna, when he speaks like this, he is way beyond a particular form, particular figure, way beyond the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He is that supreme truth. We hope one day Christianity also will look at Jesus Christ way beyond how they visualize him at this moment, asking everybody to surrender to this particular form. We hope one day Christianity in greater and greater ways accept there is a certain truth which appears as Christ to us, as Rama to those people over there, as Buddha to those people over there. The one truth which is way beyond any particular name and form. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to insist. Leave Krishna and come to Christ. Leave Shiva. Don't worship Shiva anymore. Worship Jesus. That kind of going around trying to convert people smacks of certain narrow-mindedness. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gati. So, yosav avyaktaha, this reiteration of the truth mentioned before, yaha asav avyaktaha, the unmanifest, the supreme unmanifest. Aksharaha iti uktaha, that itself was called in a previous verse, akshara, imperishable. And wise people call it the ultimate state, parama gati, where we need to reach, paramam gati. For in our immaturity, we aim at reaching some position, some place, some designation. We fancy it. Somebody dreams of becoming something. Somebody, I want to be the CEO of a company with 10,000 employees. It becomes that, let us say. But then he says that there are problems there of another kind. Wherever you go, it's not paramagati. Say, oh, I need to rise higher and higher. All life we want to rise higher. Is there some place? Is there some destination? Is there some state where there is nothing further? You have reached the highest. Yes, Gita talks about it. Paramagati. Otherwise, as Marshall Goldsmith's popular book goes, what got you here won't take you there. Many of you might be knowing there's a book by that title, a bestseller, New York Times bestseller it was. What got you here won't take you there. So you become CEO, then your eyes are set on something even higher, maybe the CEO of a bigger company. How to go there? Then you acquire some more qualities, some more qualifications, some more skills. Then only you go there. What got you here won't take you there. You need some more intelligence. Things like, with your IQ you might reach somewhere. Now you have to enhance your EQ to go further. And that's where SQ comes. Spiritual quotient. So many quotients are talked about these days. IQ, EQ, there's something called perseverance quotient, PQ. And Sardarji got up in a session on emotional intelligence and said, ये सब क्यों? 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 Why? Why are so many quotients? So, paramam gati, yam prapya na nivartante. So, Bhashyakara says, aksara sannakam, sanna, or sangya, as they say in North India. Sangya, sanna, sannakam. It is named akshara. Avyaktam bhavam ahu paramam prakrishtam gati. Yam bhavam prapya gatva na nivartante samsaraya. They don't come back to this giant wheel of living. Go up and again come down. Go up and again come down. Tadhamasthānam paramam prakrishtam mama Vishnu paramam padam. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says Vishnu paramam padam. Number one, this Bhagavad Gita happens to be taught by Sri Krishna, who is an incarnation of Vishnu. It's very appropriate. Though the shloka doesn't mention Vishnu Shabda, but it is right, very appropriate to say Vishnu Padam. Number two, this Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam is an expression found in the Upanishads. Kathopanishad, for example, probably it's elsewhere too, but I can tell you, Kathopanishad's case, in Kathopanishad where the chariot example is given. Life is like a journey by a chariot. Atmanam Rathinam Viddhi Shariram Rathamevatu, and so on. Indriyani Hayanahu Anapragrahamevacha Buddhim tu Sarathim Viddhi. There's a set of some 9 or 7 shlokas or mantras. There it is said, if somebody acts in viveka, all our misery is because of lack of viveka, lack of seeing right, seeing what is wrong, and then rejecting the wrong. Who was that? Last month somebody came to me and said he was a bit sleepy. I said, why are you feeling a bit sleepy? Are you not well? No, no, I am well, but last night I slept at 2:30. Why did you sleep at 2:30 a.m.? He said, you see, my wife made by somehow expecting some guests. She made a lot of coffee, but the guests did not come. Since I am fond of coffee, after dinner, since the guests had not come, I drank all those 5 cups of filter coffee. Enjoyed it. But because of 5 cups of strong filter coffee, up to 2:30 a.m. he didn't get sleep. And then next morning, that is called aviveka. Because there are 5 cups of coffee, who asked you to take them all? Even if you are a lover of coffee, okay, guests did not come. The coffee we made, uh, I'll take half a cup because I love it so much. Stop there. But he drank and drank and drank, watched some TV, watched some internet, and 2:30 a.m. he could get some sleep, not high quality. Like that, aviveka. Even in simple food and drink, you and I tend to be unwise. There's another person who ate so much of, in India we have this Haldiram's namkeen. Haldiram is the company. Everywhere it's available now. Various savories. Something was delicious. He ate and ate and ate so much after dinner. Then at 1 a.m. or so, he woke up with a lot of acidity in the throat. He vomited and vomited and vomited. Why did he have to eat so much of those salty things, fried things, oily things? Take a little 2 spoonsful, be done with it. Aviveka. So we say, Yam Brahm, Pratyush Vishnu, sorry. Kathopanishad says, those who live with Viveka, with first being able to see what is good for me, what is bad for me, then in action, opting for what is good. Many of us fail on both the stages. Sometimes, even though we see what is good for us and what is bad for us, urges, vasanas, sanskaras, habitual tendencies just to make us do what should not be done. So, Kathopanishad talks about those who behave with such avivek, they go down. Samsaram cha adhigacchati. That's the expression there. And those day after day, situation after situation, please, for heaven's sake, because some 5 cups of coffee are available and nobody else is there, please, for heaven's sake, don't drink all of them. Live in Viveka. Then the Kathopanishad says such people reach Tad Vishno Paramam Padam, at high state of Mahavishnu, or Vishnu can mean something pervasive. The ego is a small thing. When you are egoistic, you are a small man. You may be the president of some country, you may be the CEO of a company, but if you are egoistic, spiritually we say, you are a small man. In the world, they call somebody who has less wealth is a small man. Somebody who has less influence is a small man. But spiritually, it's not about wealth or power or position, glitter or glamour. Sorry, not glamour, glitter or glamour. But in spirituality, if you have viveka, then ego vanishes. Ego is sustained in aviveka. When there is no ego, maybe you are not famous, maybe you are not popular, maybe you don't have much power to wield, but when you have no ego, you yourself will experience certain vastness, certain expanse in yourself. You feel one with the world, one with the universe. There is no regret or anxiety, thought of some kind squeezing you, compressing you, making you feel shrunk and small and unfortunate. How unfortunate I am. I am an unlucky person. Thoughts, they don't come. Therefore, Vishnu Paramam Padam Ityartaha. Let's stop here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.